Good morning or evening, wherever you are, or afternoon. This is MoveEasy Yoga with Via, and it's December 19th. We're fast heading towards 2021. We're going to start in the, right, can hardly wait. Let's start in the ordinary fashion, just lying on your back, watching your breath. Settling into the floor, feeling the floor coming up to meet your back body. Noticing the air around you and any noises around you. Let them be part of your practice. Noticing the breath you came in with, not trying to change it. Finishing that and putting your hands behind your head, stacking your hands or interlacing your fingers. We're going to practice vagus nerve reset, the shifty eyeballs pose. Without moving anything else, with your eyes open or closed, move your eyeballs to the right and wait for an involuntary sigh, swallow, yawn, or gulp. Come back to center, shift your eyeballs to the left. Wait for a sigh, swallow, yawn, or gulp. When you can continue to practice vagus nerve reset, the most common response is a yawn. Come back to center. For most people, the most common response is a yawn. Come back to center and then repeat 2 more times, right, left, without my cueing. Whenever you're finished, keep your arms where they are and begin to head ramping. This is also called chin tuck, but I like to call it head ramping because I want you to really to press the occipital ridge, the back of the base of the skull, into the floor. And it slides up along the floor away from your shoulders. And as a result, your chin tucks slightly. Stay there for a breath or two and then release. And do 4 more of these. One more. And then grab your strap and wrap it around your rib cage, the bottom of your rib cage. Well, up near your breast or your chest. We're going to do resistance rib cage breathing. If you have figured out a wider strap that you can use that. This is actually smaller than I would have it be. But what you're going to do is breathe into this strap. But and then you can also put your hands beside your rib cage, thumb down, fingers curling around the top of the rib cage. And just take an inhale and feel the expansion of the breath into your hands and into the strap. And then just exhale and allow the breath to leave the lungs. And repeat this 4 or 5 more times, feeling the resistance of the strap. This is going to actually, the resistance, the fact that you're moving, breathing into a resistance point is going to help you strengthen the muscles, the breathing muscles, the diaphragm, the lungs. You're focusing on the rib cage. This is called rib cage breathing. And one more breath. And let's set up for hypopressive, a bridge hypopressive. So you can remove your strap. Your heels of your feet stay on the floor, but your toes are toward the ceiling, dorsiflexing your ankles, your feet. So in this pose, your arms are beside your waist or your hips. And then when we start, we're going to breathe 3 regular breaths and then hold the breath out, no breath. When you do that, as you hold the breath out, you lift the hips and bring your arms overhead by your ears. So Kathy's demonstrating that. And then at the end of the hold, you're going to come down on an inhale, arms and then hips. Inhale, exhale, arms, hips. Okay, we'll do this twice. So 3 normal breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, exhale all the way out. Hold your breath out, no breath. Lift your hips up, your arms overhead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Inhale, arms up, and then exhale, hips down. Let's do it one more time, 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, last exhale, all the way out. Hold your breath out, no breath. Lift your hips, bring your arms overhead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Inhale, the arms come back, and exhale, the hips come back. Very nice. Let's stay here. We're going to do some basic hips and then the leg stretch series after that. But basic hip movements, crisscross, and then leg stretches with straps. So starting with leg lifts, bent knee leg lifts. This is a very basic fundamental movement. Bring your knee up towards your chest to a 90-degree angle and then bring it back down. So remember that all the movement is at the hip joint. So the knee stays at the 90-degree angle and returns, and do 5 more of those. And try to think about, be aware of where this movement is coming from. And you can inhale as you come up and exhale as you come down, being aware of your breath. And when you're finished, switch sides. See if you can make this movement only happen at the hip joint. So nothing else is moving. The mouth is, the jaw is not involved, the torso, the arms. Pardon me.
Bless you.
Then the next thing you're going to do is bent knee side drops. So you're going to start the same position, bent knees, but then you're going to take your right knee out to the side and then just bring it back. So drop your knee out to the side and bring it back. And drop it. So keep your foot on the floor, Kathy. So you're not moving your foot so much as you're moving your knee. Yeah. And if you start to feel this on the groin or in the psoas, the hip flexor muscles, you've gone too far. This is an abductor, adductor. So the muscles you're working on the inside and the outside of the thigh. So that's your cue that you need to make the movement smaller. Switch sides. Bent knee side drops. And think about where this is coming from. It should also be at the hip joint. And 2 more. These are just fundamental movements of the hip. And sometimes this is all it takes to release the lower back. So let's start now with, let's do crisscrosses, because these are kind of fun. Bring your legs up into tabletop. So bent knees up, and now cross your right leg over and top, and then bring it back, and then cross the other leg. So now this is more, this is more dynamic than you're showing it, Kathy. It's back and forth, cross and cross, and you can get big. You can make your crosses really big if you want. It doesn't, you don't, so cross all the way over. So let's make it huge. Make the crosses huge. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, get it big. So, you can just choose what feels right. But this is a very dynamic movement that's pretty easy to do, and maybe easy to remember. Crisscross knees, really. And stop that and find your strap. We're going to do leg stretch 1 and 2, timed, because this is a bone builder. We're going to hold it for 40 seconds. So leg stretch 1 is what Kathy has up there. I think everybody knows it, so I'm not going to describe it. All you have to do is look at Kathy. Just stay here and breathing, timing. This is creating bone density at the femur, head of the femur, and at the acetabulum, acetabulum. Doesn't sound right. Anyway, probably isn't, which is the hip socket. That's the little indent in the pelvis where the femur sits. Just keep breathing, being aware of the breath and the movement. And then go ahead and do leg stretch number 2 on the right side. So just drop your leg out to the right. And keep the left pelvis, left hip, left pelvis on the floor. That's the challenge. Your leg may not go down as far as Kathy's. And if you want, you can use your strap to pull your foot towards your shoulder. And just staying here and breathing and keeping the left hip on the floor. If you feel it lifting, your right leg has dropped too far. Come on back and switch sides. Leg stretch 1 on the other side. Remember, this is called head to toe. Sometimes it's called head to toe. And just staying here and breathing. The leg is straight up, but if it's too uncomfortable to have the leg straight up, you can bend the knee a little bit. You can use your strap to pull your foot towards your face, but keep your hips on the floor. There's always a but or an and. Now, just keep going, go to leg stretch 2 on this side. Your leg drops out to the side. Keep the hips even on the floor. And breathe, building bone density here at the hip socket and at the head of the femur. And then remove the strap. And let's go to some basic shoulder. Oh no, let's do a floor seated. Let's do floor seated. So find your way onto into your cross-legged floor position. The first thing we're going to do is a side bend, starting on the right. And just sliding your arm along the mat. And then the upper arm, the top arm is up and over. We're going to time this. This is creating bone density at the thoracic spine. It does other things. All of these poses that build bones also are helpful in other ways. But we make sure and time them for the reversing osteoporosis feature. Go ahead and bring your arm forward, elbow forward. Find a slightly different stretch across the back. And come on up, elbow first and then torso. Other side, slide your arm along the floor. Keep your hips even on the floor.
so that the C shape is at the torso. And then go ahead and move your elbow forward so you can get a slightly different stretch across the back of the armpit. Bring your elbow up, bring your torso up. Let's move on to the spine twist. So first thing you're going to do, we're going to spine twist to the right first. Put your right hand on your left knee. Bring your left hand behind you. Spider fingers.
Right hand on left knee. Okay.
Right hand on left knee. Left hand behind you. Rotate so spinal twist as far as you can go. And once you get there, you can start to slide the intercostal muscles or the ribs back and forth without involving the shoulders. So try to keep it in the ribs. Slowly unravel, come to the other side, repeating on the other side. Right arm, right hand behind you, left hand on your knee. Once you find your spine twist, maintain it, and then side to side rib cage slide. Come back, unravel. You should have a chair nearby. We're going to do a get up series. So should have mentioned it before, but have a chair or a sofa or something, a bookshelf, as long as it's a stable bookshelf or counter nearby. You're going to be in front of the, whatever it is, your thing, and on your hands and knees. This is the basic get up if you don't know the other get ups or if you don't have the strength for them. So you're on your hands and knees, you put one hand on the couch or the chair, and then bring your knee up and towards the couch also. And come on up. And do it again, and do it on the other knee and the other hand. So just so basically you're using your legs to come up, but you're also using a chair or a couch or something. So that's the easiest way to get up from the floor. The next thing you're going to do is a deep squat. So if you can do this for 10 or 15 minutes a day, deep squat, it's not even a squatting practice exactly. It's sort of a squat. It's a squat, but it's not dynamic. So you find your position and hold it. So you can squat on a brick. You know, the brick has 3 different heights. You can squat at any height, or you can squat all the way without a brick. And we're gonna be here for 5 minutes. So find your favorite position for a squat, or your favorite prop, and then we're gonna be here for 5. I have to start again because I I put 5 seconds in, which is not, we won't even notice. We're gonna do 5 minutes. So this is the way people, a lot of people in Asia hang out. It's a relaxing pose, and eventually it will be a relaxing pose for you. If your heels are up, then you need to put a yoga mat or a mobility strip or something under the heels so that they're resting on something. And just stay here. I know that it's maybe you can eat one of your meals here in front of a coffee table. Maybe you can watch TV here. Any other suggestions?
Be on your phone.
You read a book, you can be on your phone. Mhm.
Wrapping presents.
Wrapping presents, yep, wrapping presents.
Playing with the dog.
Playing with dogs or birds or cats or children, grandchildren.
Yes. Changing a diaper.
Actually, your grandchildren can teach you how to do this. Because
They do.
they do it, at least toddlers. I mean, later, because we move them to chairs so quickly, later they forget too. Their bodies forget too.
Your nails.
This is great for the lower back. It's a traction. This is an easy way to traction the lower back. Five minutes turns out to be longer than I expected. We're about halfway done. I don't want to give it up though, now that I committed to it. So if you can do this 5 or 10 minutes a day, 2 or 3 times a day, you will start being able to get up easier from the floor. So this somehow this configuration actually helps. The deep squat helps with the get up. I should check everybody and see how they're doing. Okay, good. There's Parvin. There's Diana. I see Diana. I can't see Carol. Somehow Anyway, you guys are looking good. We have 1.5 minutes left. Be sure you have a flat back. You're in good posture here. So you're not rounding your back. So the hardest part, I think, in some ways, is to be here and keep good posture, or you can lean forward out of your hips in the beginning of a flat back hip hinge, but try to keep the spine straight as you're doing this. Because otherwise you'll end up aggravating any lumbar lower back issues you might have. If you start doing this pose or any other floor seated pose and you're rounding at the lumbar, you're in trouble. And so just remember that I said that so that you can't say, come back and say, wait a minute, I tried this and my lower back hurt me. Okay, we have 30 seconds. We're gonna make it. I know we are. What in my fantasy world, you would become so comfortable with this that you would automatically think to drop to the floor instead of sitting in a chair. Even though your friends look at you strangely. Okay, congratulations, 5 minutes, deep squat. The next thing we're going to do is a reverse lunge with a chair or a counter or something that allows you to hold on, because you're going to hold on and you're going to stand in front of the chair and you're going to hold on to it. We're going to step back far enough. I guess what we've learned about these is actually it's the initial step back with the back leg that is important to get you down. So you're not doing this later, you'll do it without holding onto the chair. But now you're doing, this is a supported reverse lunge. So stepping back really far is important so that your front knee doesn't go forward. You don't have to touch the floor with your back knee. You can just almost touch the floor, or you can touch the floor if you want to. So see this, when the front knee is coming forward, then it means your back leg isn't far enough back. So we're going to add something to this in a minute. Keep a flat back hip hinge here also, so not rounding. And keep your front knee as 90 degree as you can. So finish up here, and then we're going to do forward lunges with our one hand on the wall. So this is stand next to a wall. Stand next to a wall.
Should I adjust to the side view?
Well, let's see what it's like just doing this. You're going to stand next to the wall and you're going to lunge forward. So it's the exact same thing. No, you're going to stand sideways at the wall. So you're going to touch the wall with one arm and take your right leg forward. Yep, and bend. So this is a lunge. There you go. So it looks exactly like the reverse, except it's a forward lunge.
I see what you're doing. Okay.
But you're not doing it alone. You have support from the wall. Forward, drop, come on up, come back. And repeat. So forward,
Big step forward.
drop, come up and come back. So this is too much for some of you. If this is too much, can you do let's see, what would I have you do? I think I would have you just march in place. If you can't do this, I want you to stand up and march. Lift one knee and then the other. That's what I would have you do. Yep. Now let's go to where we are already at standing. So I just added forward lunges. So we've been doing reverse lunges and now forward lunges. Both of them are supported. But all of these things that we just did are going to get you to stand up off, be able to come up from a seated or some position on the floor to a standing position. We're going to do back bend at the wall. Moving ahead, back bend at the wall. This is a timed pose. It's building bone density in the thoracic spine. You're standing at the wall, just a little away from the wall, and then the arms come up and over. Remember that you're not hinging forward. You're not poking the front of the, wait a minute here, the front of the hips forward. So the hips remain stacked over the knees and the ankles. The arms come up. You can maybe touch with your fingers, maybe your hands, maybe even the base of your palms. The back bend this is an upper back bend. If you can't do this, some people were having trouble doing this. You need to do it. You can do it on a chair. I've demonstrated it on a chair before. It's not quite the same thing, but it's a nice back bend. Come on out, just unravel yourself. We're going to do a spine twist at the wall as well. So with your right shoulder at the wall first. Right shoulder at the wall, right leg forward, left leg behind you on an angle. Bend your arms, rotate the spine, the thoracic spine. Remember that the hips are still looking forward like headlights. And just staying here and breathing, and we're timing this too because it's a good thing to do. It's building bone, it's doing other things. Spine twists are really useful. I think people know this. I think maybe if anyone is bragging or telling people about my class, they're saying, and she does all these spine twists. And I really feel good afterwards. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, go ahead, come on up, come on back. Spine twist on the left. Building bone density. That's why we're here for 40 minutes, 40 seconds, not minutes. We're not going to take the whole class twisting, but although it probably would be a good thing. You might feel awesome if we did only a class with twists. And come on back. And find your way onto, we're going to do heel lifts with a chair. So you'll need a therapy ball too. You can use an alpha ball or a plus or an original, if you have an original. You're going to stand in front of a chair or something else. A shelf would be fine as long as it's stable, not going to fall on you. And then just lift your heels up and down. So up and down you go. This is a great movement for you to do anytime, any place. You don't need to touch the chair if you don't want to, but you should be standing in good posture. You could be doing this while you're in line at the grocery store, using your cart as a safe place. This is a balancing pose, so you need to be near something. And go ahead and put the ball between your ankles at the floor, so as far down and as far back as you can get them. And then continue with heel lifts with therapy ball. Up and down, up and up, and maybe you'll feel the core. This helps you become aware of the relationship between your feet and your core. And there is a direct relationship, actually. Just do a couple more of these. And if you're doing them without the ball, you can do alternating, just so you know. And you could use a tennis ball. Okay, stop doing that and just find your way. We're still going to use the chair. We're going to balance on one foot. So another balancing, so you need something. You need a wall, a shelf, a stable shelf, a counter, a chair. And you're just going to, we're going to time this too. Just lift one right knee up, right knee up. And stay here and breathe. You can be touching the chair if you need to, or you can be not touching the chair. If your arms start waving to help keep your balance, that's a good thing. Because your whole body engages in the balancing act. There's some internal mechanisms that help you balance and some external ones. You can look across the room at a fixed object, and this will help also. The more you do this, the better balance you will have. If you're losing balance as you age, which almost, I think everyone does, this is your answer. This is your solution. Switch sides. And just stay here and breathe. Be sure you're standing tall. Any of these standing poses or even the seated poses, if you're not in good posture, you're going to be aggravating any issues in your lower back. So good posture is always accompanies all these poses. I'm going to show you, go ahead and let's do the knee backward, bend backwards. So just so you know, your knee doesn't have to come forward, it can come backward. Just bend it backward and there you go. It may feel a little different. That's okay. Maybe it'll be harder. That's okay. And then Kathy went to the third option, which is with your foot tucked behind your ankle.
It's easier for me.
It's easier for her. You switch sides without like calling it, Kathy. Okay, you have 5 more seconds. And why don't can you turn to the side so people can see this one? So you already have 2 options, knee up in front of you, knee back behind you, bent behind you. And then you can tuck your ankle. Go to the other side though, we're switching sides. And then just tuck your ankle, your foot at your ankle. Or you can put the big toe and the toe next to it at the ankle, at the Achilles. And then the other option we have is sometimes we do this, and in another yoga class, you might more often do the tree, which is, an external rotation of the hip, which is also a balancing act. And come on out of that. Let's do short foot before we go to the floor. Short foot is a balancing pose too, so you probably need to be near a chair or a wall or something. We're going to do a split stance, short foot. So the right foot is forward, the back foot is behind it, not too far back. It needs to be comfortable. And then we're going to add core activation. So The first thing you're going to do is notice the triangle on the bottom of your foot. That's the big toe, below the big toe, the little toe, and then in the middle of the heel. So notice that, and then lift your toes and spread them. And now engage your core as far down as you can go. And now lower your toes and press the toe pads on the floor. Don't curl your toes. And then start to notice, bring your attention to the core and then to the medial arch of the foot, and then to the core and then to the medial arch of the foot. And just back and forth a couple times, breathing, being aware, moving your attention between your core and your foot. All the time you're pressing the toe pads into the floor. And then just release all of that, and you can switch sides. The left foot forward. Notice the triangle on the bottom of the foot. Just become aware of that. Spread your toe, lift your toes and spread them. Engage your core. And now drop your toes. Press your toe pads into the floor. Begin to switch your awareness between your core and your medial arch on the foot, bottom of the foot. And core, and then foot, and then core, and then foot. And then core, and then foot. You can do short foot seated also. You can do it with parallel feet. This is a really good one to do. Finish up and come to the floor. We're going to do prone back extension. So short foot is good for people with flat feet, with plantar fasciitis, which is an inflammation of that arch. It's good for balance. It's good for proprioception. Lots of good things about, and it's good to connect the core to the feet. Okay, beyond that, prone back extension. This is actually a Pilates movement. Just find your way onto the floor. And then taking an inhale to prepare, an exhale to lift your arms, your chest, and your head. Remember, your head is in a head ramping position. And just stay here and take a couple breaths. You may want to lift your chest up a little higher. And then go ahead and take an inhale to prepare to come down, and an exhale just to bring yourself down. And we're going to add airplane arms to that. Take an inhale, and then an exhale, lift your arms, your chest, your head. Take another inhale to prepare for airplane, and an exhale, bring your arms out into airplane. We're going to time this. But you can come down early if you need to. While you're here, just breathing, feeling the strength that you're gaining in the upper back along the thoracic spine. And if you want to, you can lift your chest just a little higher. And breathing and holding, or coming out early if you need to. This is very challenging. And then take an inhale to prepare to come down, and an exhale to come down. Thank you very much. Good job. Let's go into a child's pose before we do thoracic release. Your knees can be wide or narrow. Your arms just crawling forward so you get a stretch at the lower back, stretch at the upper back and a stretch in the armpits. You may want to put, you may need to put a pillow under your chest. Or under your head, or a brick. Big breaths. Take some big breaths into the back of the lower lobe of the lungs, the back of the lungs. A couple more breaths. And then go ahead and come back onto your belly for the thoracic, prone thoracic release. Bring your arms into airplane and keep them glued to the floor. The armpits, shoulders glued to the floor. Look to the right. Lift your right leg up and over. And we're going to time this. And just stay here. Your hips and your legs can bend any old way you want. The only rule is to keep the armpits, the arms, and the shoulders and the chest glued to the floor. This will release the upper back. Ten more seconds. And switch sides, look left leg comes up and over. Everything else, the chest, the shoulders, the armpits on the floor. You can do anything you want with your hips and your legs. Come on back, find your way onto your back, supine for our yoga nidra meditation practice. You can have your knees bent. You could have your bent knees on a chair or a couch. You can extend your legs. But if you do extend your legs, I would put a rolled up towel underneath your lower back or put a rolled up blanket underneath your knees. And I'm going to take you through 61 points on your body. First, we'll begin with your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Observing your abdomen as it rises and falls with the gentle flow of your breath. And now bring your awareness and your attention to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, left knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This completes your 61-point guided meditation. It's time to come back to the room and start to wiggle. You can extend your legs in one direction and your arms in the other, overhead, and try to stretch and create a little more space between your pelvis, the top of your pelvis and the bottom of your rib cage. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle your ankles and your wrists. Hug your right knee into your chest, and then your left knee. Hug both knees into your chest and rock and roll from side to side. Nice release of lower back. And then whenever you're ready, roll all the way over to the side in a fetal position, using your bottom arm as a pillow. And then press the top hand into the floor. Bring yourself up to seated without rounding your back. Find a comfortable, unmute yourself. Find a comfortable seated position. I'm going to take Kathy off spotlight. I'm going to put me on gallery view so I can see everybody. So go ahead and find a prayer position with your hands. Find a comfortable cross-legged position and then a prayer position. Press your hands, palms into each other. I'm doing this for the first time in a long time.
Oh, wow.
It feels okay. It feels good. I'm listening to my body. It's time. Okay, not time to take the sling off yet, but time to press. Release that in just a gentle prayer pose. Now, go ahead and take the skull, the base of the skull, and lift it toward the ceiling, head ramping, so that you can bow or roll and nod the head forward, the skull forward over the cervical spine. The spine is not moving, just the skull. Dropping the head forward, bowing, noticing, acknowledging, and honoring the light in each of us. Knowing that we are all one light. And now closing the class with by saying to each other, Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.